Welcome to Still Finding My Voice. I'm really grateful you joined me. Have you ever opened your phone to complete one task, then suddenly found yourself reorganizing your entire life? That was me. I started this morning by trying to finish a 10-second Instagram reel for my client, and by the end of the day, I had created a client content library, a business inbox, a set of operating principles, and something I now am calling the High Kick system. High kick optional, systems required. Somewhere in the middle of all that, I realized something. I may not be as disorganized as I thought. I may have simply been trying to run too many parts of my life and business from inside my own head. So what happened was I was trying to finish my client's reel before noon, and I was editing a 10-second reel, and I wanted it perfect. The problem is perfection never works in my world because I could spend 8 hours on a 10-second reel and wonder why I'm hungry, tired, and grumpy. Well, that's not going to work. So I have to be smarter about it. And I wanted it to connect with future clients. And through this process, I'm learning to communicate benefits instead of simply showing activity. I thought I was creating one Instagram post. What I was really doing was discovering where my business had no system. The funny thing is, creating her reel wasn't the problem. I also was carrying in my head ideas about my podcast, about client content, ideas I had about my coaching program, about my pricing, about notes everywhere, and about time tracking, especially. The problem wasn't that I couldn't do the work. The problem was I was trying to remember where every piece of my work lived, not on a piece of paper, not in the computer, but in my head. That was the problem. I've got folders with incoming photos and videos. I've got posts in progress. I have final posts that are just waiting to be posted. I have a content library, and I have all the fun admin opportunities to keep everything in line. And I opened my iPad and I saw everything there. For the first time, I didn't have to ask myself, where did I put that? A system only works if you actually keep using it. This episode isn't about organizing Google Drive. It's about organizing your mind. That's when it hit me. My whole brand has always been about high kick optional. So why not call it what it really is? I came up with the high kick system. High kick optional, systems required. That's my new business philosophy, and it's actually working out. So principle one of the high kick optional and the high kick system is everything gets one temporary home before it gets a permanent home. Principle number two, if two options work, choose the simpler one. Here's principle number three, deliver excellence, not extras. Principle number four, capture first, complete later. And what that means is when I have an idea, I can capture it and I could file it in the right place temporarily. Even if I'm in a hurry, it takes like 10 seconds just to file it in the right place. I can come back to it and I can complete it later. Principle number five, if it works, don't fix it because of the perfectionism that I've tried to live up to in the past. It doesn't work. So I have to let go of that. So if it works, don't fix it. And here's the bonus principle. Just because you're in the room doesn't mean you have to remodel it. Can anybody relate to that? It applies in my life, not just to Google Drive. It means that I can go into a room and see my shoes on the floor, my glass case on the nightstand, and look at all the other things that are wrong in the room. Like a pen that's laying on the desk needs to be put away. I can sit here and spend all day looking at what's wrong in the room, but I don't need to remodel the room. So I can take a break, walk out, go grab myself a glass of water with some lemon in it, and come back in and then see things realistically. Just pick up the shoes, put them away, put the pen in the pen holder. It's not a big deal. And that applies to my Google Drive system as well. So I'm realizing there's a parallel here. Number 7, the deeper lesson. Going back to my voice method, I used to think confidence came from knowing exactly what to do. Now I think confidence often comes from knowing where to put something until you're ready to deal with it. And as you've heard me in previous episodes, or if this is the first time listening, I created a system called the Voice Method and how it applies to organizing as well as personal growth. The V in voice stands for view and validate. It's good to use my eyes, but it's also good to use my brain. So I view what I'm seeing and I validate in my head. How does that apply to me? Where does that stand in my current life right now? The O, the O stands for observe. View and validate what I'm thinking and feeling. Observe how those thoughts and those feelings relate to the outside world when I talk with people in my communication, when I'm planning something out, when I'm writing out a letter, writing out an email. Observe what's going on inside of me. And sometimes doing all this business work with the system that I'm creating and through the voice method, my emotions need to take backstage for a moment. And what I mean by that is it's easier to separate the emotional part and put that aside when I have to do my work, when I have to plan an episode, because I'm thinking about if I was listening to this episode, what would I want to hear? What would I want to learn about myself? So that's the O, observe. The I is integrate. I'm integrating what I'm viewing and what I'm observing, and I'm integrating it so that it's a cohesive system that works for me. Sometimes, because I am an introvert, sometimes it takes courage to integrate everything I've learned about myself, about other people, and how I communicate. And it takes courage to step forward and say, "Hi, I'm Lynne. What's your name?" I don't always want to do that. Can anybody relate to that? Going into a room, a party full of strangers and thinking, I'm good. I'm going to get a drink and just have a seat. Well, that doesn't always serve me, especially now in my life. I've learned that if I could miss blessings that have dropped right in front of me, like this morning. I had a handyman come over and install something, but it didn't start out like that. Yesterday, I had a handyman scheduled, took the day off work, made time for the appointment, and waited quite a while until I ended up calling into the company and saying, "What's going on? This person didn't show up." And they said, "Well, this person had an emergency." I said, "Well, it would have been nice if this person would have let me know they had an emergency before I had to call." So they apologized and they scheduled someone else. That person showed up this morning. But what I realized is that emergency yesterday, although I hope everything worked out fine for that person, turned out to be a blessing today. Not only did the person take care of what needed to be taken care of, we had a discussion about family, about beliefs system, about just how life can bring miracles and being present and paying attention to those miracles, and how you can miss out on an opportunity to create something wonderful by not speaking up, by pulling back and not making the most of your life. So it turned out to be a really big blessing. So C for courage in the voice method. The E is for embrace, embracing the view and validating it, observing what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling, integrating it all to have courage stepping forward. At one point, I thought about calling it the Lynne Business System, and then I realized the initials were LBS. Let's just say that acronym wasn't going to work for me, so I scrapped it. As we close, I just want to leave you with this. I began the day trying to finish one 10-second reel, realizing I had been carrying the entire business inside of my head. Maybe you're doing the same thing. Maybe you're not lazy. Maybe you're not disorganized. Maybe you've simply never built a system that supports your dreams. I am still finding my voice. And apparently, I'm still finding my files. But now they finally have a home. High Kick optional. Systems required. What's one thing you're tired of carrying around in your head? Just this week, give it one home. If today's episode encouraged you, made you laugh, or reminded you that you're not the only one trying to juggle life and business, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend. Remember, High Kick optional, systems required. See you next time.